Okay, welcome everybody. This is 10.1. It's a continuation from what we did last time on 2.4. So in 10.1, the first thing they want you to do is do a scatter plot, which is the exact same thing we did in 2.4. So I'm going to bring up my calculator and I am going to label this the x-axis and label this the y-axis. I'm going to type this data in to a list and this data into a list. The way to do that is just click on new document, and I don't want to save the old one, and go to number 4, add a list. So up here in A, I'm going to label this my x-axis. For B, I'm going to label it y-axis, and I'm going to enter in this data, 63.0, 29.0, 20.8, 19.1, 13.4, and 8.5. And the next list.
Excuse me, sir. Can I ask, why did you skip to 29? Is there a reason?
I didn't put it in there. So I'm gonna, oh, it's there.
Okay, I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm trying to follow along with you.
Okay, no, that's good.
Fast, so.
Okay, no, that's okay. I'll slow down a little. 63, 29, 20.8, 19.1, 13.4, and then I think it did the 8.5. Yes. So if I go back up to the top for my y-axis, I'm going to type in these 7, 3.9, 2.1, 2.8, 1.4. And so now I skipped something. It seems like I skipped 1, 2, 3, 4. There should be 6 altogether. I must have rewrote 7, 3.9, 2.1. Okay, there we go. 2.8. 1.4 and 1.5. Okay, now they match up. We have 6 in each column. All right, so I entered both of those into my list. And I really do recommend following along, get you some practice, and watch these videos and practice on your own also. You have to become proficient in this. So what we did last time now is this is our page 1.1 where we entered in our data. Next, we have to create a new page, which will be right next to 1.1. And the new page is going to be the scatter plot. To do this, we have to click on this blue new page button, which is the document. But first you have to hit Control to get to that new page. Control, document. And then we're going to go to number 5. And once again, in 2.4, I write down the steps and procedures for doing this. If you're wondering, oh, is he just memorized that? No, we went through the steps and procedures in 2.4. And I wrote them down on a sheet of paper, which is right in front of me. Even your teacher doesn't do anything from memory. All right, so, and then what we did, once we created that page, we went down to the x-axis here. It says click to enter. I click on it and type in the X, or if you label it list 1, it'll be list 1. I labeled it X. And then on the y-axis, I label that Y when I entered in the data. And there's my scatter plot. So if I scroll up here and bring my calculator back, my scatter plot should look just like this. And it does. 2, 2, 1, 1. So it looks the same as long as I typed it in correctly. So there's my scatter plot. And so without any steps that people gave me, and we're going to go through the steps in a little bit, I just want to show you what we're going to do. From this scatter plot, we're going to draw that best fit line, the line that fits in between these dots the best. And we'll go over these steps again, but we're going to go to menu, number 4, analyze, and number 6, regression, and then number 2, show linear a plus bx. So if I went too fast, that's okay. Don't worry. You don't have to do this because we're going to go through these steps here in a little bit, and it's going to be written down for us. And if you notice, when I do that, the best fit line, the linear regression line, gets thrown into the scatter plot. This line is the best fit line that fits within these dots. It is mathematically generated to fit in here the best. It's called best fit line or regression line. Okay, so I just wanted to show that. I mean, we did the scatter plot, and today the only thing extra we're doing is drawing this line. Now, there's a couple things we're going to do with that line. If we look at the calculator really quick, there's the equation for the line, y equals 0.3963 plus 0.1061x. So there's the actual equation for the line. Now it's gone. How did it go away? When I bring it up? How did it disappear? Oh, there. I have to click on the line to make it dark, and then it pops up. If I click somewhere else, it goes away. So that's pretty cool. If I click on the line, there's my equation. All right, so I just wanted to show you that. That's what we did. And now we're going to learn how to put that line in there. And then they give you another example of doing a scatter plot. We've done a few of these already. So what we're going to do today is talk about this right here, the linear correlation correlation coefficient, and that's labeled R. So R is the symbol for a linear correlation coefficient. In other words, how good the dots are. Are they lining up correctly? And your linear correlation coefficient, the numbers are anywhere between -1 and 1 on a number line. So you cannot have 1.1, but you can have 0.9 because it falls between the number line 0, here's -1, here's 1. It follows somewhere in between these two. And a +1 is a very strong, it's a strong positive linear correlation coefficient. A +1 means it's strong. It's perfect, not even strong. It's perfect. It's very, very strong. A -1 means it's a strong negative correlation coefficient when R equals a -1. I'm trying to figure out what happened to my pen. I have no idea. Oh, Lord. Maybe if I erase it. Oh, I got to click on this one. There we go. So if we look at these pictures down below, I think we're doing some pictures next. Yes. If you see these dots line up perfectly, that's a perfect R of equals 1. If the dots line up perfectly, you get an R equals to 1, which is a perfect positive, a strong positive linear relationship. If we line up these dots, do you see how as you're going from left to right, this line is going down? So we have a very strong negative linear relationship. -1 is perfect. It's going down. It's perfect. The dots line up perfectly. A +1 is perfect also. The dots just line up perfectly to go up in a positive direction. So -1 is not bad. It's perfect, just giving you a negative relationship. A +1 gives you a positive relationship. Now, then we look at something like this. If we draw the best fit line in there, they're all lining up pretty good. We know it's going up as it goes from left to right, it's going up. So it's a strong positive linear relationship, but it's not perfect. So that's why they say the R is 0.9. The R is 0.9 here because it's not perfect. The dots are not lining up, but they're really close to the line. And then if you look at this here, it says R equals 0.5. All the dots are further away from the line. Me personally, I don't think it's 0.5. I think it's more or less like 0.7 or something like that. But they just wanted to show you that, yeah, the further the dots get away from this best fit line, the further each of these dots are away from the best fit line, the worse the linear relationship is. So here, this is a strong negative. Do you see negative linear relationship? And negative is always a negative R. R equals 0.9, but it's a negative 0.9. And if it's going down, but they're spread out, R equals a negative 0.5. So you can see the difference in these. The goal is to try to get as close to 1 or -1 as we can. That's the goal. So creating a scatter plot, finding what the R value is and the best fit line. So here it gives us all the steps and procedures, and I'm going to do all this right now on here.
Oh, that was a question I was about to ask. When you were saying that they labeled it the R 0.5 or 0.9. That's what we're about to figure out right now, right? How they got
Yes.
to 0.5 or 0. Okay, cool. I was just about to ask how they do that.
No, we're going to do it right now. We're going to do it right now. And it's the same data we typed in. So it says, remember, this is the data we typed in when I bring in up my calculator and go to the 1.1 here. You see, I have 2 pages. If I go to 1.1, there's my 63, 29, 20.8. So they want you to type in the same data. So we've already done pretty much all of this already. So we're going to type in the same data that we had from up above. Right here. This is the data we're typing in. Just in case anybody's typing it in now, you're going to type this into list 1, type this into list 2, or call it X and Y list. And I put that in my calculator. I have to scroll down to get to it all. I don't know why I do this blue thing there. I don't mean to do it. Okay. And I even mentioned that this is what your screen should look like, but there is a 6th row, 8.5 and 1.5 should be in that bottom row. If I scroll down a little bit, 8.5 and 1.5 should be in that bottom row. So create a new scatter plot. I'm going to create a new one here. You see I have the 1.2 page there already, but I'm going to create a new page from here. Control document, which is a new page, and I'm going to add number 5. And what we do, if you look, the steps are right here on the x-axis. Click the x-axis, and I labeled them L1, L2 here, but on my calculator, I labeled them X and Y. So click here, and I had X. And then click here is going to be my Y. And there's my scatter plot, and it should look like this. I'm going to bring my calculator back. There's the 2 scatter plots. Hopefully everybody's at this spot. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And what we're going to do next is find that R, like you had mentioned. Are we going to calculate the R? Yes. So we are going to actually calculate the R now. What we're going to do is go back to our data, and we're going, it says click on an empty box, and I'm going to click on C1. You can click on D1. You can click on any empty box. That's what I'm going to do. When you click on that empty box, you hit 4 statistics. Number 1, calculate. Number 4, the linear regression A plus X. And then select list 1 and list 2 and hit enter. And they'll put our R in this box and some other stuff also. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to click on the data in a blank box, hit the menu button, statistics, stat calculate, linear regression, and then the X and the Y axis, L1 or L2. I clicked on them as X and Y axis. So let me show you what we're going to do. So we're going to our data, which our data was in the 1.1 box. And I'm just going to click on any empty box. And I'm going to click on this C. It says now click on menu. The menu button is here, far right. Click on number 4, statistics. We clicked on the menu. Now we're clicking on 4 statistics. Number 4 statistics. And then, uh-oh, something's not right. Give me, maybe I'm going too slow. 4 statistics, and then number 4, oh, there it is. Wait, no. Give me a second. I think what happened was I have too much stuff on here, because I have all that stuff already. Let's see if I can get out of here. Escape, escape, escape. Let me put it over here. Menu, statistics, stat calculation. As soon as you click on something, it goes there, stat calculation, and then number 4. There we go. All right, so I'm going to do that again. I'm going to see if it works here. We're clicking on menu, statistics, number 1, stat calculation, number 4, linear regression. Click, I didn't have the box highlighted. See, if I just do that, it won't work. I have to click on it again and get my cursor. That's why it wasn't highlighting. You have to have the empty box, but then you have to click on it again to make sure the cursor is being highlighted. Now we're going to menu, statistics. No, that didn't do it. I think we only click on it once then. Menu, statistics. That is so weird. I think it doesn't like me clicking on C1. Let me try D1. Menu, statistics. It didn't like C1, so I move it over a little bit. All right, so now I guess we got it. So I'm clicking on D1, menu, statistics, and look, it's not doing it again. I don't know, people. I don't know.
It looks like when you're clicking on it, sir, because you're putting that cursor inside the box, it's not highlighting those options for you. I think.
No, see, I hear it's, let me try a different box. I'm going to try this box here. Let me hit escape one more time. I'm going to click this box here without the cursor being there. Let's see what happens. Menu, statistics, there we go, without the cursor being there. Stat calculation, and then number 4, linear regression. Okay, so now we got it. I hit enter, and we have to select the X list and the Y list. The X list is our, if I click on this arrow, is our X, the data I labeled as X. And if you look here, I label it L1. But I label it as X. And then the Y, where's the Y list? Right here. And that's going to be our Y. There we go. Leave everything else the same. There's an F1 and a 1. Don't change anything else. The only thing you're changing is what's your data, whatever you labeled your data. I labeled it, instead of L1 and L2, I labeled it X and Y. Now when I hit enter, or okay, do you see my information is here? I'm going to scroll back up and over. So there's my data. If you look to the right, I put it in D, but it brought all the data way over to the right. And here's what they gave us. If we scroll down, here's my R. See, the R for this data is 0.98, which is a really good, strong, positive linear correlation. So from this, we get our R. So our R, and I'm going to write it down, is 0.98198. Okay. Now there's some more things I want to show you. The equation for the line also, right here, equation for the line is, let me write this down on the actual page here. The equation for the line is A plus BX, B times X, right here. This is the equation for the line, and you could always put Y equals. There's the equation for the line. A is 0.39, so you can rewrite this. A is 0.396321. B, there's A, there's B, is 0.106125, and then an X after it. So this is the equation for that best fit line that we drew in there. And we're going to put that best fit line back in there. So they give us the equation for the line. And if I scroll down, they give us R. And my R value is 0.98198. My linear correlation coefficient. And that's pretty much all we're going to be doing in this over and over again in the homework and all. There's still a little bit more. I want you to be able to draw that best fit line. And so that's why I have the steps more. And I talk about the formula. I talk about the R here. But now we're going to actually draw that line, and here are the steps for putting the line. We're going to go to menu. Once we get to the scatter plot, we're going to go to menu, analyze, number 6 regression, show the linear a plus bx, and then it'll be on our graph. It'll be on our line. So let's do that. We're going to go to the actual graph. I'm going to go to 1.2 and do it over here. I did it twice. So we're going to remember from here, we're going to go to these steps here. We're going to go to menu, number 4, analyze, number 6, regression. And I'm not clicking on it, so hopefully that's help him. I'm just hovering over it. And then we're going to go to number 2, a plus bx. And when we click on this, now when I click on that, it actually gives me my best fit line, and it matches the picture in the workbook. And look at the equation. It puts the equation there too. It's the same equation I had written down that they gave us here. Look, 0.3963. If we come back here, it's 0.3963. Do you see it's the same? B was 0.106, and here B was 0.106. So it's the same equation. So now we can find R, we can find the equation, and we can find and create the best fit line for this graph. And that is 10.1. So we're going to do this again in the homework. So I'll do this a couple of times in the homework. But the workbook is really good, and I got the QR code to show how to do this once again. Or you can click on this link in the workbook. If you have the hard copy, you can't do that. But you got the QR code there to have the video pop up. The video is also in week 4 module. The video, it's the one that says TI Inspire 10.1. All right, so I want to go to the homework. Any questions on those procedures? I know it was kind of quick, but we'll do it again in the homework. And I don't think you really start learning this or understanding it until you try to actually do it on your own by yourself. Then you start really learning it. Try to follow the steps or follow the video and then do this. So let's take a look at the 10.1 homework. No, that's not the 10.1 homework. This is the 10.1 homework. Preview the assignment. Start the assignment. So I'm going to leave that to you. That's the definition. We talked about that. And we talked about this. I'm not going to do that. That's actually the same question almost as number 1. We talked about that. When are we going to actually get to a problem? Okay, here's a problem. So we didn't talk about this first part. Okay, the average gasoline price per gallon and the cost of a barrel of oil is shown. This is the linear relationship. They use the calculator. We're using a different calculator. State the hypothesis. The average price of gasoline and the cost of a barrel are shown. Is there a linear relationship between the variables and okay, so for these, if you click on this, the palette pops up. For HO, so we haven't really learned any of this. We'll learn this near the end of the semester, but for HO, always pick the one that has the equal sign. And then H1, always pick the one that has the does not equal sign. So when I click on HO, I'm going to click this equal sign. When I click H1, I'm going to click on the not equal sign. Now they don't tell us the average price of gasoline and the cost of a barrel of oil is shown. Is there a linear? I'm not exactly sure what they want us to do. Let's take a look at show an example. If you're not sure what to do, click on the show an example over on the right-hand side. Okay, they're using the P. Okay, I wasn't sure what symbol they're using. And they're using this, this symbol. And you see the HO is always going to be the equal. The H1 is always going to be the not equal. So we're going to put 0 or not 0. So that's what we're putting down. Okay. And then you'll see we're going to draw the scatter diagram. And it tells you how to go through using the TI-84, but we're not using the TI-84. So in here, we have to click on that and we have to find that P. And I thought the palette would pop up. Oh, there it is. I see it right here. It's very small. It's called the row right there. P equals 0. And then right here, the P, you can't go wrong because it's there. The P does not equal 0. So that's all you have to put for the first one. Equals on the top and not equals on the bottom. And we got that part correct. So, I mean, there's nothing we really learned and about this. We'll actually learn this near the end of the semester, what the HO and the H1 actually mean. Next, select the correct graph. Which one is the correct scatter plot? So we're going to put this in our calculator to figure out which one is the correct scatter plot. So I'm going to grab my calculator and I'm going to type this data in here. And the first one in the oil is usually the X value. And then the money is the Y value. So I'm going to type all those into the X and all these into the Y. So I'm going to create a new page. I'm going to delete all the old one. Don't save it. Hit no. So I'm creating a new list, and this is going to be my X, and this one's going to be my Y. And now we're going to type in all those numbers: 46.85. 58.18, 62.24, 69.72, 50.91. And if you type in a wrong number, more than likely everything is going to be wrong. Okay, next, that was 6 numbers. So now I'm going to go back up to the top here and do the Y. 2.481. I mean, they could have came up with just simple numbers. So it'd be easy to type in. 2.725, 2.993, 2.477, and 2.512. Okay, it looks like I typed everything in. Hopefully I typed it in correctly. And we're gonna do the scatter plot. So I'll give you a second if anybody else is typing this in. And I'm gonna just verify that I have everything correct. It looks like I have just about every 53, 50, 69, 62, yes. 251, 793, 27. 2725, 83. It looks like everything's good. All right, so to create the scatter plot, remember, I only have the data typed in. I have to create the new page, control, document, and number 5. So there's kind of like the scatter, but we have to click on the x-axis and label the x, the y-axis and label the y. And there's my picture. So I'm going to come back down and it says, which one is correct? So I'm going to bring my calculator back up here. And does any of, unless I type something in wrong, mine don't look like, oh, it actually looks like this one right here. It's just mine is spread out from, do you see how mine is at from 46 to 70? About 46 to 70 is that last dot at the top. So it looks like graph A is correct. Graph A is correct. None of the other graphs look like this. So we have the scatter plot. I come down here and say, oh, graph A is the correct one. Am I correct in that? And I have to click on check answer. I put my palette and everything down there. So. And when I scroll up, it says, hey, I got it correct. A is correct. Now it asks for the R. So now we have to type in R, and it says 3 decimal places. So I have to go to my calculator and I have to calculate R. If you remember how we calculated R, we went to the data right here, and then we clicked on something to the right. I'm gonna click on over here, anywhere to the right. And then we went to, and I have this written down, menu, number 4, statistics. Number 1, 4 statistics, number 1 stat calculation, and number 4 linear regression, A plus BX. All right, and when I click on that, the X value I'm going to say is my X. And my Y value is my Y. I don't change anything else on here. And I hit OK. And then it gives me my R. If I scroll down, I'm gonna write it down over here so we all see it. 0.924632. So that's where I got my R from on my calculator. And it says 3 decimal places. So you look at the 3rd decimal place and then look to the right. Since it's 5 or more, you have to add 1 to the underline, 0.925. So my answer should be 0.925, which is a pretty good. It's not 99, 97, 96, but it's okay. 0.925 linear correlation coefficient. Let's check, see if that's correct. And we got it correct. Okay, that's all I think I wanted you to do on here, but I'm going to check down here Yeah. In the homework, you'll see part 4 and 5. You don't have to do those because that has nothing to do with this course. So if you skip parts 4 and 5, it's okay. Let's say I put a number in part 4 and I check my answer and it's wrong and I check it and I check it and I check it. Eventually it's going to mark it wrong. Then for part 5, it's going to say choose one of these, is or is not. It doesn't matter what you put down. I got it wrong. It doesn't matter to me. The only thing I'm worried about in this homework is making sure you get down to part C. So you're going to put P equals 0, P does not equal 0. You're going to select the correct scatter plot, and then you're going to put the correct R in here. The rest of this, if you get wrong, it's okay. I'm going to go back into the homework when this homework times out, and I'll give everybody those points back. So I will give you those points back for parts 4 and 5. You do have to complete part 1, 2, and 3. Everybody okay with that? And I'll show you the same thing in number 5. We're going to do another one of these. We'll do number 5. God, that's a lot. Let's see if number 6 is easier. I think there's less numbers in number 6, so let's do the number 6. First, let's type in all this data into our calculator. I'm going to just turn the button on and create a new page and everything. Do you want to, it says, do you want to save unsaved data? No, don't save it. And then we're going to create a new list. So we start fresh when we do that. And I'm going to type in all this data. I'm going to call this the X list and this the Y list. You can call it list 1, list 2, whatever. So men is the X, and I'm going to type that in 67.1. 59.2, and don't go across because the X list goes down here on my calculator. 48.6, 52.3, and we didn't even have to do the best fit line. They didn't even ask about that, but they will when we get to 10.2, which is not until near the end of the semester. 53.7 and 64.5. 64.5, yes. All right, and go back up and put the Y stuff in there. 77.2, 64.6, 47.2, 56.9, 72.4, and 74.7. So let me verify that everything is correct. Oh, see, there's something wrong right here. I forgot a decimal place. 47.2. 64. It's always good to just check your stuff really quick. Because you get wrong answers and you wonder what's wrong. It's probably your data. All right, so I typed in all the stuff. The hypothesis, if I click on this, equals is the top, not equals is the bottom. We're going to use the P button, P, and then we're going to equal 0, and then we're going to go P does not equal 0. Now we're going to check our work, and that's correct. So we're going to type that in every time. Now, when we get to 10.2, I just warn you, this is later on in the semester. It's not always going to be equals and not equals. Okay, next, we're going to see which scatter plot is correct. So I've already typed in my data. I now have to create a scatter plot. We have the data page. We have to create a new scatter plot page, control document. Number 5. Control document number 5. I'll give everybody a second. This is where we are at. And it shouldn't match right now because we haven't hit the X and the Y lines yet. And we have to do that. So we're going to go to the X line. And that's where my X data is. Then we're going to go to Y line. That's where my Y data is. Now we should be able to pick the correct answer. And if you look, it's this one down here, D. A is this top one, B, then C, then D. It looks like the answer is D. If you scroll and bring my calculator back, you see there's D, and that's the one that matches up. So I'm going to click on the D button here and check my answer. And it marked it correct. And the last thing, part 3 of this that we want to do is find the R value. So to find the R value, we go back to our data. Remember, we can do the best fit line here, but it's not part of the homework. If you remember the best fit line, menu, analyze regression, A plus BX. There's the best fit line. It's not part of this homework assignment. That was the best fit line. And you see data kind of spread apart. There's a couple that's close. So it's not a perfect R of 1. And it's positive because the graph is going up from left to right. But we do want to calculate R. Remember, to calculate R, we go to our data and we click somewhere over here on the right. Then we go through our steps to find R. Menu, statistics. Number 1, stat calculations. Number 4, A plus linear regression, A plus BX. And then we fill in, this is the X. And this next one is the Y. And then when we hit OK, our R value will be over here. And you see it's not even 0.9. The data was pretty spread out. So when I type this in, R equals this one right here, 0.8411. 3 decimal places, since there's no 5 or higher, we don't have to add 1 to that last decimal place. So the answer is 0.841. 0.841. And if you get this wrong, more than likely you type the data in wrong somewhere. So go back to your calculator and verify that your data, if I scroll over to the left, that your data is correct. More than likely, if you get your R wrong, more than likely your data is incorrect. So that's it. The p-value we're not calculating, and that last one is or is not, we're not calculating. So that's not a bad homework assignment. I mean, it's just redoing the scatter plots, giving you practice, and then calculating the R. Just remember on the HO and the H1, we're going to say equals and not equals. And when we go to 10.2 later on in the semester, we'll have more information on exactly what that is.